let's do some curve adjustments with selective edits on this image. Double click the hand to fill it up a little bit more in the space. So first thing I'm going to do is come over to the adjustments panel, click on a curve. I'm going to grab the middle eyedropper and see if I can do any kind of color correction. So I'm looking at this metal here thinking that will be a neutral, and I click on it and already that looks better. So that one quick click pulls out some of the yellow. Now I'm going to grab the targeted adjustment tool right here in the adjustments panel, and I'm going to come over here to the guy's face and I'm just going to push up so everything's getting brighter. And then I'm going to come over here, I'm just going to pull down a little bit, adding some contrast. So I've created a little bit of contrast here. Okay, so that's the first. It's a global adjustment. So from this to this. Now when I did that, I'm losing a lot of detail here. So I'm going to just grab my brush really quickly, make it a bigger brush, holding the bracket keys to do that. And I know that I had adjusted my hardness moments ago, so let me make that a soft brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of that off of this area and this area. Maybe the sky ceiling up here. Okay. Now, if I feel like I did too much there, I'm going to hit X on the keyboard to take it over to white and take it to 50% for opacity, and I'm just going to pull a little bit of that off of here and just kind of paint it back in a little bit, not to the point where it was. Okay, and X again, get that blow pop coming in there. So even though this was started as global, it's a globally localized correction just because I knew I was losing too much information on those elements. I'm just going to hit that a little bit right there. Okay, so coming back in here, I'm going to make another curve adjustment. This time, once the targeted adjustment tool is selected again, I'm going to come over here and just kind of darken that down a little bit and pop that up a little bit. And this time, whole image looks bad. I'm going to do Command I, invert that adjustment. I'm going to grab my brush tool. I'm still at 50%. My layer mask is black, so I need to paint with white. So I just hit X on the keyboard to toggle to white. And I'm just going to make some selective adjustments in some of these areas, see if I can get a little bit more detail in there. So they do not have to be giant adjustments. They can be little tiny spaces. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now let's do another one. This time I'm thinking I can do a little bit more here to add some more depth. So I'm going to grab the targeted adjustment tool, and it's already selected for me. That's because in my dialog I have it set up, if I come up here to these little drop downs, I have auto select targeted adjustment tool. So every time I make a curves, it pops up as selected already. I'm going to come here, I'm going to make this bigger so I can see what I'm choosing. And I'm going to click on here. If I go down, I'm going to go up. Let's make it a little bit smaller so we can see what it's looking like. So a little bit too extreme. Brightening the overall, Command I. Now I'm going to grab a brush. Maybe too big of a brush. And I'm just going to come across there. I'm also going to come across up here. Now I think I did too much right there, so I'll hit X on my keyboard here, made my brush smaller. Go up to 100% and pull that correction off of right here. Well, right now that seems to be popping out too much for me, so I might deal with that in a second. I'm going to make this small, hit X again, go back to 50%. And remember, if I click here once, hold my shift key, it's going to draw straight lines from point to point. I'm just going to brighten these up. Did you notice one of the things that I did? I didn't run it across this red. That's attention to detail, you guys. Attention to detail. Because naturally, that is not going to be lighter. Okay, so let's turn this one on and off for a second. That's looking lots better. Well, one of the things I noticed earlier, I said this seemed a little bit too bright for me, so let's make another adjustment. Come in here and just come over here and pull down to darken that up. Once again, it's darkening the whole. Command I, grab the brush tool. Just going to paint in there. Paint that down a little bit. Okay, I did a bad job on that last brush stroke, so I just hit Command Z. I'm still at 50%, so if I paint over it more than once, it builds up the amount that we're hiding, that adjustment. Okay, so I think that's looking better. So right now I've got global, semi-global. I've got the candy boxes. I've got the shelving, and then I have that area that was a little bit too dark. I think up top I want to make it a little bit darker as well, so I'm going to make another adjustment right here, come up here and click on the black, because the black is not that black. I'm going to pull it down. Okay, Command I, grab the paintbrush, make the brush bigger, and we're going to paint with white. Okay, so hit X again. I don't like what it's doing over here. I do like what it's doing here, and I don't need it over there. So let's come back here. Just be specific. You get the idea? Dig deep. Find the little elements. And of course, you can come back in here and name these. Candy. Shelves. Okay. Go to it.